There are so many people in this world that you may want to avoid. Many of these people are extremely dangerous and creepy, and should not be allowed near other living things and should just be locked away. Here are 5 true scary encounters from reddit.com. Number 1. Racist weirdo at the gas station. So, I am a college freshman in the South. I am also a female. Before I began in this story, I'd like to give a description of myself. I am a short, chubby black female. When I say short, I'd believe I am just underneath average height, 5'4". Anyway, my college was across the street from a run-down gas station, where I happened to work. On a night that I was working, my boss left me alone for that night because he hadn't gotten any sleep, or so that is what he say, but it was a pretty slow day. There wasn't a specific reason why it was slow, it just was. Anyway, I was playing Geometry Dash on my phone as I sat behind the counter. It wasn't a counter with a thick glass and speaking tube, it was just a regular counter. As I played my game, I heard the door open, with the little chime from the bells. I looked up to see a man, about average height and very skinny, but for some reason a little intimidating. I was never the one to be afraid of anyone, so when I say he is intimidating, he was. He was balding, with a little comb over. He had on a dingy white t-shirt with holes and dad jeans that were caked in a dark red substance, and mud. He seemed as if he had just went hunting, but I'm not sure. He looked at me, his eyes were hollow and empty, but still, I smiled. "Hello, how are you?" Common Southern hospitality. He muttered something, I couldn't hear him, and went to the back of the store. I watched him for a while before I eventually had gotten bored and went back to my game. After about a minute of aggravation, I clicked off the game and went to scroll down Instagram. When I glanced up, he was standing behind the aisle, just watching me. Upon reflex, I put my head back down, looking at my phone, but something told me to look back up. When I did, he was standing at the counter holding gummy worms and a beer. "Did you find everything okay, sir?" I say, a little startled, but I was okay. He didn't say anything, he just dug through his pockets and pulled out a dirty $10 bill. "The total is $5.68, I say, as I grabbed the money, smiling at him. After I handed him back his change, out of nowhere he shouts, "I hate all you niggers. You and the damn wetbacks." Taken back by his comment, I couldn't say anything, I was just stunned. "Oh, you don't got nothing to say, huh? You niggers always have something to say, never know when to shut your damn mouths. I swear to God if I could hang you I would." I gasped and was about to tell him to get his fucking worms and can of spit and get the fuck out. I call beers a can of spit with pennies in it, because that's what it tastes like, but a few college guys burst through the damn door, alerting the both of us. He grabbed his shit, and walked out. Luckily, I knew one of the college students was someone that I had known. "Hey there." He smiled, bringing me some Doritos and an Arizona iced tea. I guess the look on my face gave him an idea of how I was feeling. "You okay?" he asked. I shook my head, "No." That man that walked out said he wish he could hang me. He started off with these racist comments. I didn't even do anything. I wasn't crying, I was just really mad. My friend asked me if he should go look for him, and I told him no. I'll be fine, I assured him. He nodded and he asked for a pen and paper. I ripped a piece of receipt paper off and handed him the counter pen. Okay, call me if you need me, he says, writing his phone number down. His other friends came around with a bunch of food, and after that they were on their way. After about 2 hours or so, my boss and another co-worker came in, which means that I was off. I gathered my things, forgetting about the whole incident, and told them good day. I left, and began my journey across the street. After about a good mile or so, I heard someone yell, "Hey sir, is there a reason for you to be here tonight?" I looked back to see campus security talking to a lanky man. My eyes began to focus into the darkness when I noticed it was the racist guy from the station. His eyes were locked on me, and it made me even more uncomfortable. He didn't respond, which made it menacing enough for me to leave. I began to walk quicker to my dorm, and just forget about the whole thing. He was caught, I was okay, nothing else happened. The next day in the Union Center, I was doing some homework at a table and listening to some music when the guy that I know sat down. "Hey, so I'm glad you made it back okay." He smiles. I nodded, "Yeah, thanks." He sighs, because they found some guy on campus last night with a pistol and hunting knife. My stomach dropped when he said that. He was this skinny white man. He kept mumbling some pretty racist shit under his breath, so I thought that was the guy that you told me about last night. He finished. I told him that I think that it was, and that he was following me back to my dorm last night. As I thought, he was also stunned for words. So, fucked up racist dickhead weirdo, let's not meet, okay. Number 2, I just wanted a slushie. I live in a small apartment on campus at my university with 4 other girls. Normally, not creepy at all. There are tons of students around, and my roommates are all always home at night. Well, my ass done fucked up elementary statistics and now I have to retake it over the summer. Our resident assistant casually told me at the end of last semester that about 85 to 90% of the high rise is expected to be vacant over the summer. There won't be a doorman, and all of the resident assistants go home. So I expected it to be a little eerie, but the place is totally creepy. The entire campus is a ghost town at night, and I'm salty that I have to be here. Going stir crazy in my empty apartment, I decided to go to 7-Eleven last night around midnight to go get a slushie. Thanks to the sub making me paranoid, I drove even though it's only a 15-minute walk. So I'm minding my P's and Q's in 7-Eleven, joyfully filling up an X-large slushie cup. I pay the friendly cashier $2 for my diabetes and I go to exit the establishment. Just outside of the door, some friendly, relatively normal, unassuming looking dude stops me with an "Excuse me, ma'am." He looked okay, so I stopped, assuming he was going to ask for directions or something, but he leaned towards me and continued, "I'm sorry, I never do this. You are absolutely gorgeous. What's your name?" "Lizzie," I lied, quickly stepping away and kept walking, prepared to throw my sugary goodness at him if he tried anything. "Fine, be that way, Rachel." "Dumb bitch." He shot back, and I fucking froze because my name is actually Rachel and I have no idea how this motherfucker knew my name was Rachel. I made my way to my car post haste. I felt his eyes burning a hole in me though, as I fumbled with my cup holder trying to secure my precious cargo, panicking that he would approach my car or something, even though I first and foremost locked my doors. As I was starting up my car and looking behind me to back up out of my parking space, it looked like he was walking away. And I figured 1, that was weird as fuck, 2, I'm glad he seemed to have left without issue. It wasn't until I had been driving for a few minutes and was 2/3 of the way home that I noticed there was a green Ford Explorer that had made the same last 3 turns as me. So, like a true Redditor, I immediately started making swift turns onto side streets. Luckily, whoever got the message, it was dark and I couldn't see the driver. I lost them after the 3rd or 4th abrupt and turn signal-less turn. I felt a sigh of relief and started making my way home. I pulled into the parking lot adjacent to my building, parked at the back of the lot towards the side of the building, that way, I can see my car from my bedroom window, because campus police had sent out an email a few weeks prior that people were breaking into cars over the summer, and started walking up to my building. There, at the Kiss and Ride circle at the front of the parking lot, was a green Ford Explorer sitting with its lights off, but very obviously idling. So I very quickly, quietly, and calmly, ran like the dickens back to my car and sped off to the campus police station at the other end of campus. 2 officers drove me back to my building, left the car at the end of the lot, and the officer in the passenger seat got out and went to creep up on the driver. He knocked on the window, and a friendly, normal-seeming guy rolled down the window and identified himself as a student who was waiting for his girlfriend Rachel Williams and beckoned to my building. The officer asked to see ID, and the man pulled out a campus ID and a driver's license, both of which checked out. The officers said it was fucking weird, but they didn't really have any grounds to ask him to leave, and they escorted me up to my apartment. When I was safely locked in my apartment, a sense of anguish suddenly washed over me. I had forgotten my Slurpee in the car. I was totally creeped out by that strange man. Cops couldn't do anything, didn't even get my slushie. Number 3, almost got stabbed on a field trip. So this happened back in 6th grade, and I think it's the closest I've ever come to dying. At the school I went to, we always used to have some big end-of-the-year field trip. We'd usually go to some city and look at all the important or historic buildings, have lunch, learn some shit, and leave. That year, we were going to New York, and me and a couple of friends planned out what we wanted to do. We wanted to go do our own thing, go shopping, get some new clothes, that kind of thing. Only when we got to school the next day, the teachers made it really clear we had to stick with the group. But, since we were all stupid, rebellious 6th graders, we decided we'd just have to work around that. On the ride to New York, me, my friend Olivia, and my friend Devin decided we were going to leave the group and do whatever we wanted. Our class was pretty big, almost 60 of us, because they put 5, 6, and 7 together. So we thought if we weren't gone too long nobody would notice. We had brought money and we planned on buying tons of stuff, because even though we were a big class, we lived in a small town with only a couple stores. Olivia loved shopping, and she had actually researched the area we were going to be around and picked out all the good stores. She even made us a little map. She was good at that kind of stuff. Anyways, when we got to New York, Devin chickened out because his parents were pretty strict and he didn't want to get his phone taken away again. Olivia and I decided that he could just give us his money and we'd buy his stuff for him. So he did that, and after they herded everybody off the bus, we kind of lingered back. We were right about them being distracted by everyone else, because we got away no problem. Olivia's map worked out pretty good, and we were gone probably 10 or 20 minutes before shit started getting scary. We had just left the store, and Olivia was carrying her shopping bags when this guy noticed us. It probably wasn't hard to pick us out, two little 6th graders walking around alone, carrying a shit ton of clothes. He started calling out to us, saying how he could buy us more clothes, all the jewelry we wanted, if we'd just come with him. We didn't believe him, of course. We just kept walking, heading on to the next store. Only this guy wouldn't stop talking. He started following us now, and getting kind of pissed that we wouldn't answer him. I told him to fuck off, because I thought that he would take a hint. There was tons of people around, and we figured he couldn't really kidnap us in front of 200 people. But he kept following us. And he started getting a lot closer. He had probably been 30 or 40 yards back, where we could barely see him over the other people, but now he was only 15 or 20 feet. That's when we started panicking, because shit, there was a child molester after us, and we had no idea where the group was. We decided to split off from the sidewalk, and head down into some alley, because we figured people would call out the guy if he started to follow us. But of course, it was New York, and everybody else was too wrapped up in their own little problems. So now we're walking down this dark fucking alley, and this guy is still after us. He fell a little back, probably back to about 30 feet now, but now he's not pretending to be a good guy. He's talking about how he's gonna fucking kill us and how they'll never find our bodies and how much fun he's gonna have with us. And he's smiling this deranged grin the whole time. We're both on the verge of tears now, because we figure this fucking sociopath is about to kill us. Olivia just decides to drop her shit and yells run. So we both start fucking running, and we're probably around halfway through this alley. But then she turns around, and she fucking screams. So I turn around, and I see this fucking psychopath is running after us now too, and he has a fucking knife. We're both screaming now, and I'm running faster than I ever have before, and we just run out of the alley back into this crowd of people. And as we try to get into this group of people, to make sure this guy can't stab us to death, I turn around and he's just standing back in the alley, smiling. And I turn back around and this random lady is asking us what's wrong because we're both sobbing and Olivia's dress is ripped and I'm bleeding because my arm scraped the wall and we're crying so hard we can't talk. As soon as we can actually manage to talk, we tell her our school, and she looks it up and calls them, and we somehow manage to find our group again. We're both forced to stay right next to the teachers because they don't trust us anymore, and I honestly don't fucking blame them. We didn't even tell them about the man, though. And as soon as I get home, I'm grounded and my phone is taken away, but still, nobody but me and Olivia knows about that man. School ends a couple days later and I get my phone back. So I text Olivia and she sends me a picture of our class in front of some important building and says look in the bottom left corner. And that fucking man is in it. Mostly hidden behind some wall, but you can still see his face, smiling that deranged grin for the camera. We never really talked about the man again. I didn't want to bring it up and Olivia didn't either. I'm fucking terrified of cities now though. I like to stick to a couple towns near me and that's it. There's a lower chance of getting stabbed. I hope you enjoyed this video, and by the way, this is a 2-part video. Part 2 will be uploaded next weekend. See you then.